And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WrestlePurists Worldwide. I'm your host, Ibu WrestlePurists, better known to many of you guys as Backup Heyman. And you guys are joining us for a gigantic edition of WrestlePurists Worldwide, probably the largest in this era of the show. We will be covering WWE SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer. We will be giving you guys an update on the G1 standings. I will be asking Anna her thoughts on Julia's last match in Marigold, but we also have some major news on this show because I have gotten a lot of updates and worked the phones, and I will be providing you guys genuinely work. I feel like Adrian Wojnarowski, Monty, but I've been working the phones, and I have some major updates and clarification and information on the MJF Britt Baker situation, and more in particular, why MJF was not suspended. And lastly, I'm going to break some news on this show. This will be the thing that likely gets aggregated, Monty. This will be the thing that gets on all the pages and sites.
We'll get Jamie to aggregate it first. We can't be having everyone beat us to our own scoops. You
know? Yeah, right. It'll be
we don't even aggregate our own scoops on the Twitter page before other people can. It's crazy.
I get off StreamYard and I check the timeline, and like people will be like, according to Evil WrestlePurists and other thing, but there will be some major breaking news on this show that has yet to be formally reported.
Too much, Jesus Christ.
Right. No, I mean it's just
people
a major
Stone Cold's going to AEW.
Stone Cold is not going to AEW. WWE would like him to be at WrestleMania next year in Vegas. But anyways, major free agency news. I have a significant update on that, and so much more. So guys, make sure to like the video, comment, super chat as always. Thank you so much for joining us if you're just filing in. But first and foremost, Anna, what's up? We have you for a full show today, right? We don't, you can.
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry about last week.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah. I only find you a little bit, so it's fine. How you feeling?
But I'm glad to be here. I'm good. I mean, SummerSlam was an interesting show, to say the least. So I do have some opinions. Sure. I am ready for battle tonight. So yeah, I hope the chat helps me.
Yeah, I don't.
It's 2v1 here. It's harsh.
It'll be 1v1.5, and I have no will to fight anymore. After this weekend, I have weak legs, weak bones, weak muscles. I just kind of want to vibe.
You down, bro.
Yeah,
you can't. Weak old man. In his prime of 2021, this would have never happened to you with WrestlePurists.
No, yeah. Listen, Anna's gonna punch me in the gut, and I'm like, all right, fair enough. I don't know. But we're glad you joined us today, Anna. I'm really excited to get into the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. Was it a big party? Was it a big letdown? Was it an awesome show? Was it a bad show? Was it an all right show? We'll find out soon enough. Monty, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just I'm recovering from my hangover from the biggest party of the summer.
The biggest party of summer, yeah.
CM Punk showed us that he can still do it, and I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm ready to get into it fairly shortly, but once again, I should remind everybody, guys, send us your super chats. We have this is a party.
Building up,
This is WrestlePurists' biggest party of the summer right over here. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go. Anna's got the painted nails. Monty has a new hat.
This ain't a new hat, bro. This is the Old Faithful. It's the Old Faithful.
I want everybody to know that Monty wears hats because there's nothing underneath. If he lifts the hat, you just see like a brain exposed, like those cartoons.
You've seen. Yeah, you seen what I'm packing? You seen what I'm packing?
Hey yo!
What? Oh, bro, come on!
What the fuck, Monty?
Monday afternoon. Well, it's Monday evening.
What do you want?
You're getting all weird, bro. Any opportunity?
Oh my goodness! Ask me how my day was, Monty.
How was your day, bro?
It was better. Bad weekend. You know what I mean? The crazies got me, but I made some shrimp today. You know what I mean? And you can't be too sad when you make shrimp. Last night I was watching some movies. I rewatched Malcolm X. Great film. Fucking amazing movie. Rewatched Casino after that. It's always a good time. Always a good time.
Casino. You were going through. He was going through some things, you know.
Nikki Santoro, man, that guy's an animal, man. Just ready to fight anybody. My goodness. He's
to go off Twitter, you know what I mean? Like that is not real. I'm sorry. Like Twitter is not a real place.
Yeah, like you just gotta just close it all, and then it's funny. And I closed it all. And I said, "Let me watch wrestling." And I was like, "No, that reminds me of Twitter." So I said, "Fuck that." And then I said, "Let me just watch a movie."
Reminds me of Twitter.
Yeah, so let me just watch
the toxic ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
we got to get into some super chats.
Everything reminds me of
yeah. Let's fire them up. Let's fire them up. Let's get into it.
All right, we're gonna speed through. Bluey, 100 rupees, appreciate you as always. Had a good time with SummerSlam. Really good build that peaked a week early and got blow-offs and story progression that rewarded me for following the TV. Happy you enjoyed it, brother. Another one, 100 rupees. I ate up all the drama in Punk versus Drew. Great storytelling with callbacks to the injury, Clash at the Castle and Chicago. Good chapter if we get the heated brawl next. Again, happy that you enjoyed it, brother.
The follow-up is going to be very important, and we'll get into that shortly.
100%. Yeah. Scott $2.79 buying Thea Hale stocks. They're a little pricey at the moment, but still a good investment, brother.
She had her best match of her career last week against Roxanne Perez. I thought that was
that's why the price is up, people.
Absolutely,
the price is up.
Absolutely.
Darren Walker, £2, appreciate you. Buying Ren Sinclair stock. She is awesome.
I don't know about that one.
I've heard quite a lot of good things about her, but I haven't seen enough of her to give like a fair judgment on what I actually think of her yet. So, happy you're enjoying her, Darren. Again, £5. Money and Ibu, our prayers have been answered. We're getting Jarrett versus Danielson this week. This is what wrestling is all about. I'm actually fired up, bro. You know, we got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. It's all just coming together. You know?
The sounds.
If Jarrett was still a heel, this would be something else.
I think this is better, bro.
Maybe. This is my all-in, Monty. This is my all-in. You know? That's the biggest party of the summer right there. This Wednesday on Dynamite. AEW. Jeff Jarrett versus Bryan Danielson.
Oh, good shit. Darren Walker, £2. Was Bayley the worst but jump in 2024?
No, she just had a belt.
No, that's Micah.
She lost in pitiful fashion. Yeah, Bayley just kind of had a very standard run. I thought like she won it and people were happy. It was always going to peak at the moment for her, which was winning it, and then she just kind of had okay matches and then lost in a fine match, and that was that. You know, and that's kind of
I like pretty much all her matches really.
Yeah, her one in Puerto Rico, Tiffany Stratton and Naomi and her, like super heated and pretty damn good.
Yeah, even it's SummerSlam. I really like the Nia Jax match. Obviously, we'll get into it. But...
I think work-wise, it was a lot better than Liv and Rhea's match. It just didn't have the same heat.
Yeah.
So that's an early little preview, I guess, of my opinion on that.
Mm-hmm. Austin Kinkle, $2. Appreciate you as always. Welcome back, Big Rome and Big IBs. The OTC. Our tribal chief, the only one, the head of the table, the real.
Expect to be inundated with that one. Anna threw the one up. She threw the one up. Yeah, you're gonna be hearing the OTC a lot. Fun fact. Let me give you guys a fun fact. Roman Reigns, when he texts people, if it's not like his family, he will end the text with like -YTC, which means your tribal chief, and he sends that to people.
He's so real.
He's slowly becoming.
He's a real wrestler.
I was gonna
say, wrestler.
Like I'm not talking like I'm talking like in real life. Like he's talking to people in real life. Like he'll be like, "Yeah, I'll be there soon. Great match. I'll see you soon. YTC." And it's like, okay.
That's how you know it's him.
Goats.
So it's like the DJ with Dwayne, man.
Yeah, rock this DJ. He does DJ.
Oh no, because obviously they both text me, you know. Anyway, Anjan PN, $2. CM Gargano has been spending too much time in the PC. Oh, come on.
Maybe he would be wrestling better.
Sorry. Oh, come on. You haven't even got to the match yet. Black Yakuza 94, $10. Appreciate it as always. Can you feel the manner emanating from Roman's paused away? The sweat glistens off his perfect skin and his stoic visage, walking calmly as he assesses his prey and acknowledging his rival before leaving.
Couldn't have said any better.
Anna became a demon during that Roman entrance, but he
I made
beast,
noises.
he
It was yeah.
he did not have any urgency at all. Like walking out there, he's like, "You guys gonna wait? I'm gonna walk there at my pace."
Listen, I've got tactical breakdown of.
I asked someone in WWE jokingly. I asked someone in creative, "Why didn't Roman run to the ring?" And he said they were frozen by his aura. And I said, "Okay."
Beast. Enjan $2. Big Dog, Big Rome, move aside, Hyrule Husky.
I'll use this time to point this out. Someone in the press conference asked Cody, "How will you navigate being in the same locker room as Roman Reigns now that you're both baby faces? Is someone going to have to take a step back to the other? How's that going to work?" And Cody Rhodes said, "I'm not flinching."
Well, God bless him. Anyway,
Well,
Push 199. I saw the WrestleVote spoiler. What we throwing on the grill? I mean, it was a hint, strong hint that you can probably put together. So
yeah, I'll tell you guys this. Looking at, I asked last week for WWE to change the creative status quo coming out of SummerSlam. You can very much expect that in multiple ways. And one of them is Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce have been wheeling and dealing, Monty. They've been working the phones. They've been making some transactions, certain switches. I think you're not going to have to worry about delaying Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes because Randy will have some side missions to do with certain ring generals.
Rosho 1221 $2.79. That first had me teary-eyed. I love you, OTC.
I was watching that awful Solo Sikoa Cody Rhodes match. Spoiler, awful. And like 2 minutes in, I was like, I don't want to see this. Can we just get to Roman? Like, I was like, can we just get to Roman? You know? And then like it comes out.
Randy popped me as well. I can't lie. Little RKO.
Randy did not want to be there. He was like, "Why the fuck do they fly me to this shit?" You know, but like, he was just like, "Why am I here?" Like, he didn't even do his like. He wasn't even passionate about like his run out. You know, he's just like,
Jay Stone 499. Big Rome has returned to snatch your lives, your weeks, and your purposes. Ooh,
You guys know I'm the Cody guy.
I'll just do this the whole show.
This is the one.
Just the. No
Joe
words.
Holden used to have a bit, Anna, where like whenever we mentioned Solo, he would just put his thumb at the camera, like he just show his thumb. I was gonna say, you guys know I'm the Cody guy, right? And I'm Team Cody over Roman, but I have to admit, you know, Roman came out and, you know, I made noises a man shouldn't make. You know, it is what it is.
Moving on. Crease 199. CM Punk needs to stop. CM Punk need to stop. Don't GTS look really bad? I don't think
it does.
It was fine.
It's like in the stomach. It's like 5 meters away from the face. It's
hell yeah.
It's just not
great
at the GTS anymore.
It's a hard move to do. I can't lie.
Maybe he shouldn't have started doing it. Like, leave it to Kent.
It's not hard to. I don't know.
The thing is, like, for it to actually, because I thought about this before, right? For GTS to actually look good, you have to do Kenta's version, which is literally just kneeing a guy in the mouth. Like,
it's all about how you. It's all about how you bump for it. All
do it.
You know?
But it's really hard. Seth Rollins for me sold it very well, but then when you see the knee going like here and not even touching him, then it's kind of hard to.
No, I hear you.
But yeah.
Showtime Spurs $5. More like Bummer Slam. I didn't even watch. Sounds like the most enjoyed themselves.
It was a WWE show for WWE fans that paid off WWE storylines that WWE fans were interested in.
Yeah.
SMG $5. Gunther is plus 900 to be seen as WrestleMania 41 opponent. That's free money, right?
I don't know shit about betting odds.
I don't think it'll be Mania.
I don't know shit about betting odds, but you can expect Gunther versus John Cena on a premium live event TM at some point.
And Gunther has to win. Just saying.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Corey David, $2. Dom moving like Ibu. That kiss was wild.
For context here, on the Raw review, I've explained to people for weeks that Dominic is obviously like faking it with Rhea, and he's been cheating on her a lot. And I explained the psychology of a cheater. which led to my audience on the Raw review assuming, am I speaking from experience? And to that, I told them, no, I'm not speaking from experience. This is not how I act. I'm a righteous black man. But I know how cheaters move. And so I sniped this from a while away, Monty. I said, look, he's maintaining neutrality when Liv was hugging up on him and humping up on him. And he's like, yo, chill, you're bugging. Yo, you got to relax. Like, he wasn't trying to deny harassment. He knows the block is hot. He knows people are watching, you know? So, yeah. But Dom's not moving like me. I don't move like Dirty Dom.
Mm-hmm.
Horse 199, thank God Jacob's injury was a work. Well, we'll see to what extent, you know. We don't. He was supposed to sell the way he was, and it's not like you know, some people theorize like, oh, maybe Jay and Jimmy are going to come out. Like, no, Jacob was meant to be like selling and out of the match from that point, I think. So,
yeah, no audible in terms of like cutting off a run or anything like that.
But he was seen in a walking boot, and you know, so maybe kayfabe is alive, which would pop me very much so. Well,
if he was working local fans, he's like the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yeah,
he's the best.
Need the merch immediately.
We love you, Jacob. Please be okay, because I'm not gonna watch Tongaloa wrestle. So please, you know.
No, that bloodline without Jacob is just.
Oh, it's over.
No.
Literally, Anna, could you just imagine the visual of Roman and Cody standing face to face with Solo and like the Grills of Destiny? Like, if this is like a fucking anime or something, like you're thinking, oh, Cody and Roman are gonna beat him in like 5 seconds. Like they that's easy work.
It could be Roman alone.
Yeah.
And he's still gonna be like, no.
Yeah, we power scale it. Roman would destroy. Roman, can you imagine Tongaloa running at Roman like, ah? Like,
all right, that's enough. That's enough. Enough of that. Anyway, all right, we've got quite a few super chats, so we're gonna have to actually speed one.
All right, you guys are all
50 pesos.
Thank you.
People being so hateful over Ibu going wild for Punk versus Drew was really strange. Wrestling and its community is always better when people are passionate.
Yeah, I don't really get that. It made me very sad. My thing is like I don't begrudge anybody that hated it. Honestly, like it's your opinion in wrestling. Like I actually get like why people would not like the match, and so like I wasn't running anyone's posts bearing it like, oh no, you're wrong. What I don't understand is people screenshotting my post and being like, look at this motherfucker. So it was unfortunate, but yeah, we'll talk about Punk Drew when it comes, and I'll explain why I enjoyed it.
Chris 199, CM Punk looked washed at SummerSlam. That's your second hate super chat. And if the hate's fueling the money, brother, I'll take it. And Jan $2, appreciate you. 2024 Penta greater than 2024 Philophile.
Well, Anjan,
that's hashtag hold this Sierra Miedo.
I won't be doing that. I won't do that again, Anna.
Interesting. Kale 20 pesos. That being said, he hates my people, so I don't know. Deserved.
I love the Mexican people.
Wait.
I love the Mexican people. The Mexican people love me.
Corey David, $5. Has AEW ever thought of stealing WWE developmental talent like Obafemi? Just how WWE got talent from AEW, Dark, Nathan Frazier, Theo Hale, Corey Jade. Someone asked us this a few months ago. If you remember.
I have info on this, Monty. They've never overtly been to me like, oh man, we want Obafemi. But what they have done is keep a close eye on how WWE's NIL program is going. And they have thought about like, maybe it's time for us to start kind of like looking into some college athletes and offering them, like bringing them in and like helping them come along. So they've kind of considered
they need a performance center if they're gonna do that. How are they gonna do that, bro? Fucking.
So that's the thing.
Even people who are already wrestlers before, they go there and they don't have like any proper, like anything.
There's no developmental. It's crazy.
Exactly. Like they really have to just figure it out by themselves. They don't have the structure for that now. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that actually some like little just like discussions have already been held about like, maybe creating the infrastructure to facilitate something like that. And obviously if we're just having discussions now, then we're years away from seeing it actually come to fruition. But these things have actually been talked about.
Corey David, $2. Buying Kendall Gray stock to the moon. Good for you. Berkey. Come on, Ibu. We're speeding through, brother. Berkey 199. Glad Anna made that hashtag boss call to get rid of Brit.
Yeah.
Kaden.
You're welcome.
Much love, part of the fam. Caden 199. Time to admit Paul Levesque is a bad booker.
He gave Gunther the belt, so I'll be nice to him for a day.
Come on, mate. Horch 199. Big Rome sunning Cody as expected. Too much aura.
Cody's a beast.
The Wonderwall Lopez €2. Ibu is wrong about the bracelet. Hashtag Team Anna.
I haven't even said anything about the bracelet today.
Today. Chris, $2. Ooh, Dunno 199. Heard Ibu attended that Parker Boudreaux seminar. Link £2. Roman is proof top stars needed breaks away.
Yes.
Amen.
Yep.
Corey David, $2. When is Ibu a free agent? Fightful AEW WWE Wrestling Observer.
That's going to be a good one. I think I'm coming up on January, and me and Monty going to have some discussions when it comes to the money on that one.
Yeah, we might have to reduce his pay, you know. Anyway. Mustafa Siddiqui, $199. Appreciate you. Big Rome back to steal Hyrule Husky's chain.
He's never taken Cody's chain.
Anjan, $2. On my H and K, on my hands and knees, praying for Kenny to learn politicking.
He doesn't have it in his spirit. He doesn't want to.
He's too chill, bro. Akiva, $5. Really hope The Rock is the mastermind behind the new bloodline because Solo isn't in the same stratosphere as the OTC.
He is Akiva.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna see. Yeah. Suit Williams, $2. Black men don't cheat. Factual.
We don't. We really don't, and we never have, and this has never happened ever, especially within my life. And this
can be statistically backed up.
Right, and so me explaining things to the public is because I'm an anthropologist rather than someone that partakes in the behavior.
Dan V 900 $4.99. Roman, the Usos, and Cody or Sami versus Solo, and the Tongans without Jacob Fatu is Hydrogen Bomb versus a Coffin Baby. Talatonga being tall isn't enough. I mean,
if Jacob is hurt for a long time, I would end the storyline.
Yeah.
No, honestly, and them thinking Hikuleo is the answer. He's gonna make the new bloodline worse.
Yeah,
our points are gonna go down.
Subtraction by addition.
Jacob Donnelly, $5. Last super chat for now. Solo would be the manager of my local Chipotle if he wasn't born into the Anoa'i family. And with that, we're going into SummerSlam, so start
the biggest party of the summer, Monty, main evented by Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes. Biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. It was in Cleveland, and first and foremost, we were greeted, Monty, by, of course, the Game, Triple H, who came out there to pose and throw up the too sweet and go, yeah, and then he was like, "Are you ready?" I said, "Are you ready? Then get ready for Jelly Roll." And he got to the ring, and a very large man, I'm talking very he's very large man, was standing in the middle of the ring. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but I've been making fun of this Jelly Roll Monty for months, right? But the song starts.
Who is that person?
He apparently is a big time singer, Anna. He makes country music.
He's got a pretty good voice.
Yeah, so this music starts. I didn't watch this live because I just was late, right? But I caught this back, right? And I gotta admit something, folks. Jelly Roll is performing. And I'm kind of tapping my feet, nodding my head. All right. He's like, "Drink a little whiskey, have a little wine." I was like, maybe I will drink some whiskey, Jelly Roll. But he sings, and we get this introduction, and I'm like, that was all right. That was okay. So we get Jelly Roll out the way, and it's time for This Is My Brutality because Rhea Ripley's out. She's walking from the back, and the camera's following her. And she's accompanied by Dirty Dominic Mysterio. And she comes out to the ring with that Screamo theme song. And it's time for Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan, the big blow-off. Liv Morgan, her revenge tour. She's been dealing with this thing all year. She wanted revenge. She was going to take everything from Rhea Ripley, the Judgment Day, Dominic. What's going to happen here? And what happened was a 20-minute opening match for the women's world title. Liv Morgan is the champion. Rhea had never lost the belt. She had to relinquish it. and she was fighting for it here. Rhea Ripley had not been beaten clean in like years. And so she's going back and forth, and they're working this match where essentially Liv Morgan is just targeting like her shoulder because that's the injured shoulder. Midway through the match, Rhea Ripley starts like ramming herself into the announce table. I'm like, what the? Is she having a seizure? And I was like, oh, she's popping her shoulder back in. So she does it. The crowd gets what's happening. She's like, come on. And again, it's like a shoulder work, limb work match. I should probably note this anecdote now. I was told by people within WWE that like Rhea's not like she's medically cleared, but like they were almost like worried about her physically and that she's like not in ring shape. And so they wanted her to have a simple match on purpose. But she has this match with Liv Morgan. She's working the shoulder, blah, blah. And then the big thing here, Monty, is that Dominic starts to get involved a little bit. And he almost distracts Rhea Ripley because Rhea wants to use a chair and Dom pulls the chair. He's like, no, mommy, you're going to get yourself disqualified and all that stuff. And so Rhea understands that. She's like, you're right. But then, boom, a big oblivion. 1, 2, she kicks out. Big near fall. The place starts to rumble a little bit. Now they're starting to really get into this thing, right? And it's like, wait, it's like, what's going on with Dominic? He distracts the referee. He kind of slips the chair over to Liv Morgan. Second oblivion on Rhea Ripley, this time on a chair. 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley loses. Liv Morgan is still your women's world champion. Rhea's baffled. The crowd starts to piece together what's going on here. And on the outside, Dominic has this evil grin on his face, like, I did that, you know. And then he's like, you know, with that very frightening mustache of his. Liv Morgan comes up, and they start making out. And it's like, oh, shit. Dominic reveals himself as a snake all along. He's been working with Rhea Ripley. Not Rhea, sorry, Liv Morgan. And Liv is still the champion. Rhea Ripley is not. I'll let Anna go first. What did you think of this? What did you think of the plot development with the storyline and the match?
Yeah, I was really enjoying the story all along, even when people were saying like, "Oh, it's too much with Liv." Like, I was having fun, you know. I feel like it was sort of like for the messy bitches, and like you don't need to be a woman to be a messy bitch, you know. Like everyone can enjoy it. It was really fun all along, but it was one of those stories that are like, okay, let's see how they're gonna end it and where it's gonna go. And I think it was so perfect the way that it was handled at SummerSlam. It was so good, like so well made. I really enjoyed the match, even though it was like a limb work and it was. Some moments was a bit slower. It was so beasting, Rhea like popping her shoulder back on, and the whole way, even the beginning, like I really liked the dynamic between them, and I just enjoyed the match. I think it was like a great opener. It was super fun, and by the end, the kiss, they went for it, you know, like with the tongue and everything. It was great. Like I'm really excited to see. Yeah, what? Sorry.
I was gonna say someone in creative clearly loves Dominic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh come on.
Go ahead, Alice.
Yeah, I'm just like I said it before. Like his wife is the strongest woman in the world because, like, oh my god, like I don't know how. If that was me, I was just like, no, I couldn't handle it. But like, I think it was so good, and I'm really curious. Like, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next and how they continue this storyline. Judgment Day is always like over, and Rhea now it's a baby face again. So I mean, she was always treated as a baby face by the audience, but now she's like officially a baby face. So I'm really curious to see where it's gonna go from now because I don't know how much further it can go without it getting like tired, you know. And I'm just excited to see like where it's gonna go now. Like it's a story that I generally think is like really entertaining, and it's a different kind of story that we have nowadays with women. A lot of people are saying like, oh, it reminds you like of Divas era. They're using the women for this and that. Like, but no, like both of the women have their own agency. Dominic is there, but he's the one being thrown around. You know, like they are like the protagonist. That they have like the power in this story. And I really do enjoy it a lot. Like, I think it's really different and something fresh and, like, it's just exciting to see. I really like it. And I think the match was great. I think they have great chemistry in the ring. So I do want to see, like, them having another match, you know?
Yeah, this is the most effective any Liv Morgan presentation has ever been. I mean, she's obviously the most over she's ever been, and she now affects a bunch of characters on the show. I thought the match was decent. I thought that when... that first Oblivion near fall came, like the place started to really rumble. And I was like, okay, this could now hit another gear. And it felt like because that's like when the drama hit, it's like, oh shit, like if she's going to kick out of that, like then maybe she's going to win. And so then right when that tension escalated, we went right to the finish. So it ended right before it could like maybe transform into like a notably good match for me. But I thought this was a fine enough, solid opener, and I like the Dominic Liv Morgan development. What did you think, Monty?
Just to piggyback on kind of what you said about Liv Morgan, this is definitely the most effectively she's been booked and used. You know, like she, even when she won the world title before, like she's been liked as much and stuff, and she's been popular and stuff, and that's kind of always been my defense when people would like shit on Liv Morgan. Would be, you know, people just like her, bro. You know, whereas like now she's actually being used like really well and effectively in a way that's like it plays on her strengths and stuff. And you see the interviews about like she really enjoys doing what she's doing at the moment. I think in the recent interview she said like she literally looks forward to coming into work every week just to see what they're gonna do next. You know, so it's cool to see that she's really enjoying it, because that's kind of been one of the criticisms of like kind of what Anna was touching on as well, of like, you know, the women are doing these sort of storylines again. I thought Vince was gone. It's like, bro, if the women are enjoying doing it and like they're publicly coming out and saying, like, I look forward to coming to work doing this storyline, then it's like we need to start like pole clutching on those things. Like if she came out and was like, yeah, you know, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with it, then obviously you've got something to go with. But they're loving it. The fans are loving it, and they deserved all the heat they had going into this match, and it had a lot of heat, and that's kind of what carried the match. Because I thought the work was okay. It was pretty decent. I really like the storytelling beats that they used effectively. Like Dom ate a suicide dive at one point for Rhea, so that's kind of like played on your mind. Like, oh, is he actually going to side with Rhea, etc., etc. But we all thought the time was eventually coming, and the way they did it was kind of you know, it worked, man. It worked. I liked how there was kind of like that little few seconds of suspense before like he actually like picked Liv up and like they went for the full on kiss. You know, there was like that little couple of seconds of like, well, did he really just do that sort of thing? But yeah, I liked it a lot. I'm excited to see how far Rhea goes now, because that's kind of what I've been hyped up for ever since this was like clearly the direction they were going in. It's like Rhea's so popular anyway. Before her injury, she comes up from injury, she's just as popular, she's even bigger than ever, and now she has this betrayal, real reason for the crowd to like get behind her, sympathize with her as a baby face. Like even if she just turned baby face anyway, it would have been huge, you know. But now that they've actually got something to like launch it off of like this, it's who knows how far she could go on to be the biggest female star of this decade. You know, like that's how big she could potentially go. So I'm excited to see it. And yeah, I think they're doing a good job with the story, man.
Yeah. I think it also really depends. Sorry, but like I'm just gonna say, like I think it really depends on how they follow up and how they finish this. You know, like because it's the kind of thing that they can't just keep going and extend for another year. Then it's gonna be like too much. I feel like if they find the perfect timing and if they end it in a good way, it can be just like a very good story. You know, like and the thing is, people say, oh, but it wasn't about the belt, it was about Dominic. No, it's about Liv taking everything from Rhea. It was always about like a personal thing. The belt was just one of the things that she took from her. Like she took Dom, now she took Judgment Day, she took her position in the company. Like it's a lot more than that. So I feel like the way that they finish this feud and the storyline is more important than anything, because then it's gonna really like set if this was like a great thing, like a good story overall.
Right. So something worth noting, Anna, is they've had characters on the show point out to Liv that she's not prioritizing the belt. They had Zelina Vega basically said, you're too busy chasing Dirty D to even care about the fact that you're the champion of our women's division. And Liv basically pointed out to her, like, I'm not, I very much care about the fact that I'm a champion, but she basically made it clear, like, I'm secure with being champion. I'm not worried about ever losing it, because essentially what she was giving away at that point a month ago was, I basically set up a security system for myself to never lose it. And what she actually meant was, I'm in cahoots with Dominic and Finn Balor. And so because of that, she was never going to lose any of these matches. So that's kind of the deal with Liv Morgan there. And I thought this was a solid piece of business. The second match was Bron Breakker and Sami Zayn, another solid piece of business. So basically here, Bron Breakker is having a rematch with Sami Zayn. He faced him at Money in the Bank in about a 13-minute match, and he was dominating, and Sami ultimately overcame Bron Breakker because he was able to counter Bron's counters. He was able to avoid the spear, and he was able to essentially outsmart him and get the veteran victory over there. And he won clean, which is surprising. Bron Breakker admitted on TV that it was a rookie mistake. He didn't take Sami seriously. but that it wasn't going to happen a second time, and it didn't happen a second time. Sami Zayn, Bron Breakker 2. This match went about 5.5 minutes, and a lot of big stuff early. Sami goes for a dive, Bron goes for a spear early on in the match. But ultimately, this doesn't last very long. Bron Breakker does a Breakensteiner, as officially dubbed by Pat McAfee, and he nails Sami Zayn with a spear when Sami went for the haluva kick. And then Bron does it. He takes the straps off, gives Sami Zayn another spear after hitting the ropes, and he cleanly and emphatically wins the Intercontinental Championship. I thought as a match like this was like just kind of a short vehicle to get Bron Breakker over. What I've noticed about Bron and Sami is like their chemistry is fine, but Bron clicks better with people like I thought Bron's matches on TV with Ilya Dragunov and with Ludwig Kaiser were like really exciting and explosive, and with Sami they're just kind of like fine. It's like it's kind of weird. But this was more about getting Bron Breakker over, which I think was done effectively. He won here. I'd almost be tempted if you're going to go 5 minutes, just go 1 minute and just outright squash him. But WWE respects Sami Zayn way too much to do that. So they went with 5. Sami Zayn loses here. Bron wins the IC champion. I thought it was just the correct booking decision. What did you think of this one, Monty?
Interesting, wasn't it? It wasn't what I wanted it to be at all. But I think, as you kind of already touched on, the message they were trying to deliver here was giving Bron Breakker such a dominant win, and obviously they achieved that. So like going forwards, I don't think it's going to have like any damage or anything. But in terms of like on the night, the match that I watched, I just thought it was kind of like laid out really weird. It didn't quite know what it wanted to be. Like, did it want to be a squash, or did they want to have like a longer match where Bron goes over quite decisively? And I guess with the report from Fightful Select being that the match was supposed to go around 10 minutes and not 5 minutes, would suggest that it was meant to be something a bit more fleshed out, where Bron still gets a dominant win at the end. But yeah, it was weird, man, because it was like it had no like actual beginning, if that makes sense. They kind of like clunkily, and I don't mean like when I say clunky, I don't mean like in terms of like the technical aspects of their work. It weren't like sloppy in that sense, but in terms of like the way the pace the match from beat to beat was clunky at the start, and then they get like a really cool blue thunderbomb near fall. Bron then just fires up and wins, and it's like, was this meant to be a 2-minute squash, or was this meant to be a real match? Like, it was just weird. I didn't know what they were actually trying to pull off with this 5-minute weirdness. Yeah. But like I said, if the overall message coming out is getting Bron Breakker over as a dominant championship win, so they achieved that, but it's kind of a shame how the actual match played out, I thought, because as Ibu touched on, I actually think it would have been a lot more effective as well, and better if Bron just ran him over in 90 seconds. And you say that WWE respects Sami Zayn way too much, and I'm sure there is a bunch of truth to that, and that probably is the reason, but it's like, that's what makes it fucking effective, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you know Sami Zayn, that's a big deal, bro. Yeah. So it's just kind of, I don't know. Like I said, coming out of it, nobody's hurt or like damaged creatively or anything. So it's like there's not really too much to complain about, except for I was just a bit disappointed by what we got on the night.
Yeah, I hear you. Let us know what you guys thought about Bron Breakker and Sami Zayn. Again, super chats are open the whole show. And if you have not liked the video, please like the video. It's how we keep the lights on here, and it's how we provide the lovely content that we are currently creating right now. Anna, what did you think of Bron Breakker and Sami Zayn?
I mean, I didn't have like that perspective of it. Like, of course, when it ended, I was like, okay, yeah, that was a bit shorter than I expected. I felt like they were just like a few minutes away. If they had like another 5 minutes or something, it could be like a very good match, because for the time that it was happening, I really enjoyed it. And I feel like with Sami, for me, it just made sense with his character being like the super underdog and the fighting champion and like the one that always survives no matter how many times he gets bits down, he always gets up. I feel like it makes sense for him to not go down like that easily. And I do agree now, like thinking of that perspective, it would have been more effective. Maybe if he just, because we know that Sami is like that, but I still think it was pretty effective. It was still like a very dominant win. Bron just like, and I think it was good to also show Bron's talent. Maybe some people didn't watch other shows, or they didn't watch other pay-per-views, like they tune in for SummerSlam because it's one of the big four or something. And then it's the first time that they're actually watching Bron. And if they see like, oh, who is this guy like beating Sami? And he he got his moves in. It's like, okay, he's like a good wrestler and stuff. I feel like it was more of a little display for him than anything else to show like, okay, this is why this guy is getting the title. But I enjoyed the match. I wished that it would have been, I agree, either longer or shorter, but I would have preferred longer. I don't know if they're going to run it back. I think the 5 minutes I already enjoyed more than I enjoyed the previous match, being very honest. I think the way that it was built was just more entertaining for me personally.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that Bron got the title. I feel like I was a bit disappointed because I had it in my head. I don't know, like there were the news that the match was going to be the triple threat with Dragunov as well. And I just had it in my head that was going to be the match. So then when they announced it was just Sami and Bron, I was like, oh, okay. It's a bit like disappointed about that. But now seeing the way they book it, I understand why they did that. And I'm kind of glad that Dragunov wasn't there to take the pin. But I mean, I think it was okay. It's nothing that offended me personally. And I'm curious to see how this title reign is going to go. I don't think it's going to be super long. And I would prefer for it not to be super long. But I hope Bron can have some good matches. I feel like it's going to be definitely a very different vibe from Sami's reign. So I'm curious to see how he's going to handle that.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think Bron and Ilya will probably be the match at Bash at Berlin, and they have excellent chemistry. So I'm excited to see that one on pay-per-view. I think this title reign will basically just be the bridge to get Bron Breakker to main event status. LA Knight versus Logan Paul, United States Championship. There were multiple different versions of a match that these guys could have had, and I thought they had about as good as a match as you could hope to get from these two, to be honest with you. I actually thought this was like great. I have this tied for second best match of the night, personally speaking. And I wouldn't begrudge anybody who thought this was the best match of the night. They went back and forth, and there was a pre-match brawl before the bell rang, and LA Knight did this cool like TKO style move on the table. Logan Paul had like guys on the side with him. He was accompanied by Machine Gun Kelly. And they go back and forth.
2024, man.
In 2024, right? A lot of back and forth action here. Crowd hates Logan Paul. Fuck you, Logan chants. Boos. He's in his hometown. They didn't care. They saw him as a piece of shit. And back and forth action here. LA Knight, again, like we know he's over, and we know that like people like to say but I think a little bit of more respect needs to be paid to his in-ring, because I think he's a little bit more than just a capable worker. LA Knight's a good wrestler, and he did some cool stuff here. He did that. He jumped to the top rope to do that superplex that he does, and it turned into a brainbuster midair. Logan Paul does a springboard moonsault to the outside off the top rope, the way Taka Michinoku used to do it back in the late 90s. A lot of big counters and near falls here. Ultimately, Logan Paul goes for the buckshot lariat and gets countered into a BFT, and LA Knight deservingly ends Logan Paul's United States Championship reign, and he becomes the U.S. champion. I'll take this one first, and I'll just say that this is the big one for LA Knight, man. He's been in this business for 20 years. He's been doing this Eli Drake gimmick for a long time, to varying results. I remember seeing him in TNA and thinking, this is like the most WWE-ass wrestler I've ever seen. And I don't know why he's not in WWE. He's just like a buff white man that just, he cuts those types of promos. A lot has been made about how he's very much like a mix of Rock and Austin, which is, they don't run from that. But yeah, man, he finally gets his moment here. He's been like this over for about a year and a half, and kudos to him for staying over, because he hasn't had much creative backing to justify even being this beloved by the fans, but they just love him. And that hasn't wavered at all. And they stayed the course, and he wins the title here. And I'm happy for him. I thought this match was very good. And I'll tell you what, man, Andrade looks to be the next challenger for that thing, and I actually think they could have a pretty good match. So I was a big fan of this. What did you think, Anna?
Just fuck Logan Paul. I hope he never sets foot back into WWE. He's a shit person. I don't think he deserves to have any platform at all. But we know, we can't stop that. But I do hope that he doesn't go back to WWE, because he didn't add anything. He didn't. Yeah, I really don't think he helped at all. His title reign was shit. He's very shit. Happy for LA Knight, and that's all. But yeah.
Absolutely. What did you think, Monty?
Yeah. No, LA Knight. LA Knight, man. Like you said it already, but people need to. It's funny how when he first started getting over, and because obviously promos is the thing that like sticks out. That's what jumps off the page with LA Knight. It's what attracts people to him. People just started running with the narrative. And then the bell rings. Bro, he's good, and he's been good. you know, and he's not a flashy worker, even though he has added some flash to his game now. Like
yes,
that elbow drop, bro.
yeah. He did this like it was like a BME, but it was a BM elbow drop, like the best elbow drop ever, whatever. You know.
But yeah, man, he's a good worker, man. He's efficient. Yeah. His stuff looks. He's got a good physicality too. He's and he can do stuff. He's pretty smooth in there, man. He's like I said, he's not the most like dynamic athlete that's going to be doing 450s and shit, but he's kind of cute that he's trying these things like the elbow drop, like I just mentioned, you know, and it does pop me, but he's super over. He knows how to play into it. Logan Paul, you know, piece of shit, definitely been showing his ass lately, and but he is a very good athlete, and LA Knight managed to obviously with Logan Paul, he's very much like his matches are obviously going to be very dependent on how they're laid out and how the opponent acts and how the opponent wrestles. Sorry, and LA Knight was determined to have a great match. Like he was going for it in this match. You know that suplex that turned into that top rope suplex that turned into like a fisherman's fucking buster or whatever the fuck it was. Logan Paul nearly died. But yeah, this was a good match, man, and the right decision, of course, goes without saying. And then Knight's finally got a singles title in WWE, so let's cook, man.
Yeah, good for LA Knight, man. Good for LA Knight, and he ends one of the worst U.S. title reigns the company has ever had. So the next match was Bayley and Nia Jax, and the crowd saw this as a piss break initially. And this graphic comes up, and I'm like, okay, Nia Bayley, I don't really care about this one. And so they're working at a deficit here because they're going to have to now wake up a crowd that wasn't up for this thing because creatively, you know, there wasn't much to this storyline, which was the opposite, the inverse of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. You know, where the people were up for that, and they had a hot crowd. This one, the people aren't up for them. They have to kind of work them into it. But I thought they were able to. I thought in-ring wise, like if you were to watch this on mute and watch Liv on mute, I thought the actual in-ring of Bayley Nia was actually quite solid. I like this match, and I thought it started to get like pretty damn good in the last few minutes. The Nia Jax going for the Annihilator bonsai drop that she does, and Bayley having to evade that, the Bayley to belly near fall, the power bomb off the top rope to Nia Jax, which was a very impressive spot. I didn't know Bayley was strong enough to pull that off. So that was really impressive. Ultimately, Nia Jax gets the win here when It's Tiffany time hits and Tiffany Stratton teases a cash in. Does not cash it in because Bayley has to knock her off the apron and Nia Jax gets her. She gets her with a power bomb, a really sick one. So Nia Jax wins. She was the queen of the ring. She won the tournament, and now she wins the world title. I thought this was a good match. And performance-wise, I thought Bayley herself looked pretty good here. What did you think of this one, Anna?
I really enjoyed it. Like I was not expecting to enjoy it, but also being very honest, like because I don't really follow the weekly shows, in my mind, Nia was gonna lose. Like I didn't think she was actually going to win, and I don't know if that was something that was already very like built up to. But I thought that Bayley was gonna keep the title for at least like a little bit longer. I guess like it makes sense for her to lose it, but I didn't expect it, and I also didn't expect to enjoy the match as much as I did. I think Bayley had one of her best performances. I feel like the WrestleMania match is still a better match, but as an individual performance, I think her performance in this match was a better performance. You know, because WrestleMania we had Io to also like carry a lot of the weight, and here Nia is not Io in the ring, you know, and she still like managed to have like a very like, you know, it was like a good match. And I'm happy for Nia. I feel like since she came back, after being fired and everything, she's been doing the best work of her career. I don't think it's gonna be like a long title reign. At least I hope not. But I do think it's an interesting decision. I'm excited to see the matches. I hope that their matches are more like this and not just like big squashes of Nia being like, oh, yes, I'm the big strong champion. And I feel like the Nia being next to Tiffany, it's a very good point for a story. I think like there's a lot of tension with Tiffany being Miss Money in the Bank. I feel like they can build something interesting from there, you know. But I really enjoyed it. I think Bayley really went back like fully to NXT Bayley vibes. I like that. She even had like the fringe in her pants and stuff. Like I you know, there was a lot of little. Yeah, I thought it was very well built, the match. Like the way that it was organized, I think was very good. And I'm just curious to see what Bayley is going to do now. Yeah, because with Bayley, it's always a bit on and off her booking, but I'm curious to see what she's going to do now, and I am excited to see like how the Tiffany Nia story is going to develop. I feel like there's a very like they have a lot of potential to work with, like in that part with Miss Money in the Bank and everything. But I'm happy for Nia. I feel like it was nice, it was deserved.
Yeah. Did you like this one, Monty?
Oh, I really love this kind of. Not loved it as in, oh my god, this was a 4-star match. This is one of the matches of the year. I just kind of, as you correctly pointed out, the crowd didn't have the heat for like they did for the opener. You know, the women's world title match with Liv and Rhea, and they very much had to earn the crowd in this one, and they did. You know, and they did it with like a patient, logical match, you know, very much as you would expect, played on Nia's size. Bayley was kind of cunning, you know, the veteran getting out of the way, just being smart in there, etc., etc. But of course, there was moments when Nia would overpower her, and they worked up to these big spots, like the powerbomb you already mentioned, which was great. The crowd loved that, and the crowd's getting into it now. Do you know what I mean? And the heat's building, because they deserved it, you know. Because it was well worked, logical, good wrestling. You know, Bayley's great, man. And then of course it really ramps up when Tiffy time hits, and you know, she teases the cash in, and then of course we get a new champion. Ibo. Nia Jax is our new WWE Women's Champion, and I'm very, very happy for her, because who would have thought, a year, 18 months ago, that this is where we'd be, you know? She has a unique thing about her in women's wrestling, especially in the US, you know, being like a useful monster heel, you know. And she's been great, man, since she's came back. Like, of course, it was understandable people being kind of having doubts and trepidations about like, why are they bringing Nia Jax back, you know? Because at the end of the last WWE run, like, she wasn't good, bro. She was out of shape as well, and she was a free agent and did nothing, bro. She was out of the business, and you know what I mean? Then I think it was like, you see a few images on social media where she's working out with Charlotte Flair, and next thing you know, she's signed to WWE. And of course, like I said, understandably, people were questioning it, but she's hardly missed, man. And now she's gone from Queen of the Ring to World Champion, and I don't think you can't say she. Yeah, you might have wanted Bayley to have a longer and a more focused, big time reign, and I understand that Bayley's phenomenal and she deserves all these things, but I don't think there's anyone out there flat out saying Nia doesn't deserve what she's getting at the moment, because she's been great, man.
Yep. And after this was time for match 5. A lot of people's most anticipated match on this show. The match with the most heat going in. The match with the longest build-up. This had been set up realistically since the night of Survivor Series, when Drew McIntyre basically walked out when Punk showed up. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, their first clash here at SummerSlam, with Seth Rollins as the guest referee. Seth Rollins was the referee, and basically that meant that everything was up to referee's discretion when it comes to the rules of this match. And we learned pretty early on that Seth was going to be a little more open when it came to that. A lot of fighting on the outside initially. We actually open up with a standoff, and the crowd is going crazy, and they do the Don Fry, Yoshihiro Takayama spot, where they're basically just punching each other, and they go to the corners, and Punk is wailing away at Drew McIntyre. Drew reverses it. They go to the outside. They're fighting on the outside. Drew's chopping the hell out of him. Punk is flopping backwards at the chops, Terry Funk style. They're beating each other up. The crowd is going crazy. Seth Rollins teases counting them out. He doesn't count them out. They continue to fight on the outside. They get back in the ring. And it's just kind of a back and forth match here. A lot of selling, a lot of shots where you kind of see that Seth Rollins is kind of controlling the action here. Punk fires away with a lariat off the apron to Drew McIntyre on the outside. Again, Drew's just kicking the shit out of him. The general rhythm and structure of this match was Punk would fire away with just kind of like a flurry of offense. Drew McIntyre would snuff it out and chop him or beat him up and send him back down. And that was kind of the match for the first half of it. And the crowd was very into it. Midway, Drew McIntyre goes for a chair. Seth Rollins doesn't allow him to. Drew McIntyre is debating with Seth Rollins. He tells Seth Rollins basically You know, Punk is a cancer, and we can get rid of him here if you let me do this thing. Seth Rollins turns his back. It's a lot of back and forth in that respect. Punk makes a comeback. Punk gets him with an elbow drop at one point, and he got him in the Anaconda Vice, and the crowd is really into it. And he got him in the Anaconda Vice, and oh my God, is Punk gonna tap out Drew McIntyre? He's choking him out. He's choking him out. And then he sees he has the bracelet. He has my fucking bracelet. The bracelet that the fan gave me that has my wife and dog's name on it. The one that he took from me in Chicago when he beat me up in June. So Punk now tries to prioritize taking this bracelet to his detriment. Drew McIntyre hits CM Punk with a Claymore. You're thinking this is it. And 1-2, Punk kicks out. At this point in real time, I go, yeah! And then, I'm like, all right, Punk's going to win this thing. He gets Drew McIntyre up in the GTS. He's going to beat Drew McIntyre. Wait a minute. Seth, are you fucking with me? Why is the bracelet on your wrist? Seth Rollins is like, what do you mean, man? Now they're having a debate. And Punk is like, you messing with me? And Seth is like, no, I picked it up, blah, 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 right? And then Seth gets mad at him, and he's like, you shouldn't be here. You done that. He starts berating him, and he starts shitting on his existence and stuff. Ultimately, ref bump. When Seth gets back up, Punk got kicked in the balls. He got hit with another Claymore. Punk loses. Seth Rollins counts to 3. Anna, I'll let you have the first crack at this one. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. Go ahead.
Even the description was boring. That's crazy.
Oh, you did do an entire play-by-play of the whole 17-minute match. So
there are members of this audience that didn't see the show, don't want to watch the show, but would love to hear our coverage. And so, it's my job to keep them informed on what happened here.
My God, I feel like, okay, this match, I'm not gonna come here. It's like, oh my God, it was the worst match I've ever seen in my life. It was awful, whatever. But I think the match committed for me what the worst crime that a match with this build-up and this storyline could commit, which is being boring. It was just so boring. Through the whole storyline, they're like, I'm gonna kill you, and CM Punk saying like, we're gonna show levels of violence that are gonna make you feel uncomfortable, and then they go there and it's like, oh my God, he punched me. Oh my God, my bracelet. It's like, come on. You know what I mean? And they were just talking. And like watching on the pay-per-view, we could hear what they were talking, and it was already like stop talking. So I cannot imagine the people that were there live that cannot even hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what? I feel like it was just so boring. I think if you can count the time, I think someone should do that. Watch the match and then count the amount of time that they're just talking, and then the amount of time that they're actually wrestling. And like for me, it was just like, where is the violence? When you build a storyline like this for such a long time and with this much hatred and this much like real things involved as well,
Yeah.
You can either finish in one or two ways. For me, I don't think it was the finish, but when they finally have the match in one of the biggest shows of the year, you can go two ways. Either you can have like put on a clinic and have an amazing match, which we knew was not going to be the case because, okay, you can talk about, Punk, whatever. He cannot physically put on that kind of matches anymore. Or you can just like go for it and do something crazy and violent, like the dog collar match between like Punk and MJF, which was also great in its own way because it was just so like intense and violent, and because they built towards that. And it wasn't neither of them. It was just boring. Throughout like almost the whole match, people was just like, we want tables, because they were not giving anything. They were expecting a little bit more. They have a chair that they don't even actually use. Like maybe it was like one, I don't even remember, but for me, it was just boring. And the whole thing with the bracelet that also really got me was also in your defense, but I saw other people defending the bracelet story. It's like, yeah, because it's a personal thing and it's his dog and his name was given by a fan. Like, I can understand the concept of something and still think it's bad and it shouldn't have been done. Me not understand. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, me saying that the bracelet thing was bad is not because, I don't understand.
You don't understand it. Yeah.
It's just, I understand, and I still think it's bad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I feel like they built it up so much and they put so much gas in it, and it could have gone like so much further. I still think maybe they're gonna have a second match. They should let them late because, but Seth, I love Seth. I love the pants. I was entertained by him most of the match, but him being there, I don't think it added up a lot. Maybe to build his thing with Punk, his interesting dynamic, but it felt for me like those very. Like, in the middle of Roman's reign, when he was like his title run, when all of the matches was just like lore and storyline, and it wasn't like that's how it felt for me. That's how it felt. It felt like I was watching that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like it just wasn't what it needed to be. And in the end, that's the most disappointing part. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not mad. I'm not sad. I'm just disappointed. Yeah.
You know what's funny, Anna? I actually don't really have much objections with your assessment there, to be completely honest. What I would say is this. My big pre-match concern was Seth Rollins. The Seth Rollins factor as referee. Because I thought, because you saw it in the segments, I thought he was going to undermine the tension and the anger and the hatred here. And he did. And the truth is, anytime we had to kind of divert from like the main core issue to kind of set up stuff with Punk and Seth and Drew, it generally took away from the match while also like creating its own drama, because that's what a guest referee is there to do, is to create drama and near falls and stuff. But ideally what you want is just Punk and Drew McIntyre fighting. And things that you were saying and how like kind of silly it is about the bracelet and the Seth factor and so on and so forth. I just thought that I was engaged in spite of this. Where you called it boring, I was more like on the edge of my seat personally, because I was very much worried that Punk was going to get injured. And so as Drew is chopping him and like he kind of had him in powerbomb position and swung his body into the announce table, right? I'm like very much just because Punk's fragility is like a thing in fiction and reality. And so it plays into the match the same way Bryan Danielson's head trauma is. And so I'm just worried that like, oh my God, Drew's going to injure him. Holy shit. And so to me, where people didn't see blood, it felt violent to me because it felt real. And I wanted Punk to make it out of this. So I was engaged in that respect and I was super into it. And I
do have like a little thing to add, like the Danielson comparison. I feel like it's an interesting comparison because for Danielson, he doesn't need to bleed for his matches to have you on the edge of your seat.
Of course.
It's, and I feel like, yeah, that's an interesting point as well, because people saying, yeah, maybe they couldn't bleed and whatever. Like, I don't care. I feel like they could still be built in a way, like exactly like Danielson does. Like it's built in a way and he sells it in a way and his matches have like a tone to it that though like, he's good physically, Punk, I do understand there's a real concern. So they should have been able to play even more on it. And
if Drew just targeted the arm, it'd be like, if he just did that,
just like anything, like honestly, like you don't need blood to make it violent and make it uncomfortable. Like Bryan Danielson, the way, I'm of course comparing Punk with Bryan, like, like it's not a fair comparison to Punk, but I'm just saying like the way that he built his matches, and it could have been done like a lot more like that. You know what I mean? Like, I do understand. I feel like, and it was, I cannot say like, oh, because I wasn't into the storyline and I didn't follow. I did follow and I was really into it. And that's why I ended up being just like, oh, what? That was that. I don't know where they're going to go from here. I feel like they try to put the set thing in the middle where it didn't fit, because the story was already very heavy by itself. So it didn't really fit having sat there for me personally. And I think that's something we can agree on. But yeah, I feel like the fact that you were really into the match is more to do with your personal thing with Punk than actually the match itself. You know what I mean?
Well, but that's the thing. That's why that's the magic of wrestling and caring and subjectivity. Yeah, because to me, it's like I was just locked in on this thing. And so like, I'm watching it like a sport, the same way I was when Cody faced Roman Reigns the second time at Mania. I just want to see him win, and so that's why I do want to make it clear. Like my subjective experience is just what it was, my subjective experience, and I can't change the experience I had with the match. And so when people are in the chat saying like, well, it didn't feel real, I'm like, I'm just speaking about how it was to me in the moment as I'm watching it. I'm not telling anybody what the truth was. This is just what it was for me. And so, yeah, like ultimately, I say all this to say the parts of this match that worked to me were the actual like interactions physically with Punk and Drew. Actually, I liked their back and forth and their moves to each other. Everything surrounding that was what took away from it and detracted it. And so that tells me that this was overthought. And if you kind of strip away a lot of the surrounding like bullshit and cobwebs, you have a nice heated match here. And so I hope when we get to see this a second time, we get rid of a lot of that stuff surrounding it. Monty, what did you think of this one? Are you still there? Are you alive?
Punk. And
walk
Punk and
away.
Drew. Yeah, I liked it, man. I liked it, but there was elements of it that drove me fucking insane. And I honestly think that a lot of the criticisms that have been thrown towards the match online on this show, in the live chat, etc., are pretty much valid, to be honest, because they built this match up like it was going to be this bloodbath, you know, and it absolutely wasn't that, and that's what I wanted it to be. You know, I wanted to be screaming Terry Funk at the TV and shit, but it just wasn't that. It didn't have that like grit to it, but overall as a package, I guess I did like the match, but like I said, there were certain elements that drove me insane. Like, so like as you mentioned, that first half of the match, I loved it. You know, all the heat and everything. It just felt big, and it was just, you know, it's just two dudes kind of like just punching each other and just doing stuff. And Seth Rollins at the start, he's not that involved, and he's kind of, I even like his involvement at the start. Like, it's kind of cute the way that he's just like looking away on the outside, and he's doing little things like tiny shoelaces and shit like that. But when it starts getting into that next gear of like, you know, Drew's fucking about to hit him with the chair, and we get like a whole 45 seconds to a minute of like full on dialogue in the middle of a match. It's like, what are we doing here? We don't need to do all this. Like, you can get that point across what you're trying to do with all this dialogue in literally seconds. You know, Drew goes hit him with a chair. Seth contemplates stopping him. Then ultimately, like, you could have just done that whole minute in like 5 seconds. So that stuff like that drives me insane. I thought some of the use of the bracelet was absurd, but some of it I actually enjoyed. Like that spot when CM Punk scrambling for the bracelet, gets it, stands up and gets nailed by a Claymore. That was a good spot. It popped me, you know. But then again, it's like, even when Seth has the bracelet on his wrist and CM Punk spots it, and it's like they're going back and forth for ages, and it's like, what are we doing here? Seth has got the bracelet on. We don't need a minute of dialogue to explain why CM Punk's going to hit a GTS right now. We don't need all that shit, man. So there was just too much like blubber and garbage, like just kind of like
getting in the way.
The match just got in the way of itself. I thought CM Punk physically looked pretty decent, but he did blow up, which pop. But I think in terms of like how he moved around and stuff, he looked pretty fine. In terms of like CM Punk standards, you know what I mean? He's no prime Kenny Omega by any means. But yeah, man, CM Punk still does some moves that are kind of squint my eyes out a little bit. Like, does he really need to be does it at his age now? And he was doing this in AEW, which is funny because of the injuries he's picked up in this like return run that he's done. Like, he don't need to be doing like the dives and jumping off the apron and even the elbow. Like, the way CM Punk works, like, he doesn't need to do that shit. And I know everyone loves seeing him do the elbow drop if you're a fan of his, because it's one of his one of his moves. You know what I mean? But it's like, he's getting older and older. He's getting more and more fragile. It's like, I don't need to see him do that shit. Do you know what I mean? So, even though I'm not saying he was flying around in this match, but even the little bits that he did move a bit, it's just kind of some things I just don't need to see him do. Like, I'd rather just see him throw punches like he did at the start, you know?
Sick, yeah.
But yeah, between the bracelet, even though I didn't hate all the bracelet involvement, and between the Seth Rollins special guest, and I do think the fate of this match was unfortunately kind of sealed as soon as Seth was announced as a special guest referee, because it was never going to be that bloodbath with a special guest referee, because that's just not how those matches ever go. Like I said, I liked some of Seth's involvement, but overall, it kind of drove me insane. So I like the match overall, but like I said, some of it just drove me fucking nuts. And I pretty much get all the criticism, you know, even though I liked it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that covers it. I think I do want to also note that I thought Joe Holbert made a good point in his review on his channel, which is basically that for all the criticism of the bracelet stuff, the crowd did take it seriously as a story because when Punk was targeting it, they reacted every single time. And when he was able to secure it back, they popped for it. And when he lost it again, they reacted for it. But that was Punk and Drew, and we'll see what happens next with CM Punk. We're going to have to speed through the rest of this, unfortunately, because we have super chats and I have news to break on this show. Yes. So Priest and Gunther, I thought this was sick. They just whacked each other and chopped each other. And Priest is one of those guys, he kind of goes with the pace that his opponent sets. And Gunther's approach is to beat the shit out of you. So Priest is like, okay, well, let's do that. And he matched Gunther's physicality, and they had a very good title match here. Priest looked good, one of, if not his best singles performances, and Gunther wins the championship, which he should have done. What did you think of this one, Anna?
I think was really good. Priest really proved me wrong during this title reign. Like when he got the title, I was very unsure about it, but I think he's done really well. I really like the Finn part of the match as well, his interruption. And Priest, I don't think I've ever seen a wrestler actually looking to the screen to see what happened. I think that was, was like, yeah, I love that so much. When that happened, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and I'm so happy for Gunther. I said it on Twitter. I'm gonna say it here again because a lot of people are being like, "Oh no!" I said he should break the record of have the longest title reign of all time. I still believe that, and people saying, "Oh, but Roman, you guys were complaining." Roman is not gonna go put the same matches that Gunther does. If Gunther put on his matches, and we can watch him being champion, put on the types of matches that he does for like 2-3 years. I'm happy with that. Like give me all the days. Make him hold the title until he retires. I don't care. I'm just so happy for it. He's the best wrestler in that company in ring. I genuinely believe that, and I think he's exactly in the place he deserves to be. So I'm really excited to see this, and I really don't hope he loses to John Cena. I'm sorry, I love Cena, but like,
What did you think, Monty? Gunther Priest.
Probably the best match on the show. Gunther. This was all about Gunther winning the belt, but I do think this match really helped kind of solidify Damian Priest now as a real main event player. Because as Anna pointed out, he won the belt, and a lot of people were kind of like, okay, And as time has gone on, he's built the reign up to the point where it's like, you know what, he's actually having a pretty decent reign, and now this was kind of like the cherry on the top, but really announced him as a player, which is funny because it's the match where he drops the belt and it's about Gunther winning the belt. Gunther, of course, is phenomenal, straight up one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet right now. And as you pointed out, Ibu, Damian Priest very much does meet you at the level that you give him. If you want to have a hard-hitting physical match, Damian Priest can do that. If you want to do a spot fest, he can do that. If you want to do something a bit more methodical, etc., he can do those things. He's very versatile in that sense, and he is overall a good performer. And good for him, man. Like I said, even though he dropped the belt, this was very much him solidifying himself, I thought, as a main player. So, very happy to see. Obviously, Finn Balor. He's a snake.
Oh yeah,
and
he turned on Damian Priest, the bastard.
He did. That spot. It's a shame as well because Damian Priest defenses, like he has some good performances, but there's always like those weird moments that he has. Like there was that weird kick out moment not that long ago, and then in this match as well where he rolls Gunther towards the rope, and you're like, fuck's sake, man. It's like that the spot where Finn does put the foot on the rope did not come off very great, It did pop me, like I said earlier, seeing Priest look at the screen to figure out what happened. That did pop me. But yeah, overall a success. Even though there was a slight little blemish in how that was pulled off. But yeah, man, match of the night, I thought. And Gunther is our world's heavyweight champion. Ibu, very happy days.
Very happy days. Arn Anderson's here.
Here. That Pharaoh as well.
I pumped my fist. We got Pharaoh. Cody claims this is the last time we're going to see Pharaoh.
Last dance.
Yes, last dance. Arn Anderson was there to secure. Cody has some backup here for Bloodline Rules. This ended up being, he said it was going to be people you expect, which is Randy and Kevin, but he secured another one. So we're to believe in kayfabe that Arn Anderson secured Roman Reigns to help Cody Rhodes. So I wonder how he did that. But Cody comes out for a match at Solo Sikoa, Bloodline Rules. They have a match. I thought this was pretty bad. Back and forth, kind of. The crowd was waiting for Roman Reigns. Halfway through, they start chanting, "We want Roman." At this, nobody buys any near fall because they're just waiting for people to come out. And then that's when, you start getting Tama Tonga, the Tonga Loa. Tonga Loa was supposed to tackle Cody to the corner. He misses the corner. He goes to the rope. he may very much have CTE. He had a this. Jacob Fatu runs in. He does a whisper in the wind. He crushes Cody outside with a splash to the outside. He bangs his knee on the announce table, and he starts presumably selling after that. Again, the babyfaces come out to neutralize the heels. Randy does some stuff. Kevin Owens does some stuff. They fight the Gorillas of Destiny in the crowd. Ultimately, Cody's doing a bunch of crossroads that get kicked out of. Cody's getting hit with very smooth from Solo that he's kicking out of. Cody's kicking out of a lot of stuff here. The match is kind of just happening. We're in like minute 28 now, minute 29. And then boom, Roman Reigns comes out to an orchestral rendition of his theme song, which is like the one at WrestleMania. He looks cool as fuck. He has OTC written on his shirt. People are shaking their asses in the crowd and throwing babies up in the air and throwing the ones up. He comes in the ring. Superman punch. Ooh, big time spear. He walks out. The crowd chants, holy shit. They chant, thank you, Roman. Cody's looking at Roman. Roman's looking back at Cody. It's epic as fuck. These are the two top guys. Roman's officially a babyface. Cody gets solo with Crossroads. In my opinion on this was, I was waiting by minute 2. I was waiting for Roman to just come out here. This was like a really bad sequel to the first Bloodline Rules match with Roman and Cody at Mania, which I thought that match was fucking awesome. This was not awesome, and that's mainly because Solo Sikoa fucking stinks. But Roman's gonna make short work of him. I thought Roman's return in that angle was electrifying. I thought his return was phenomenal, and a great close to the show. What did you think of this one, Anna?
Solo Sikoa is the biggest case of nepotism that I've ever seen in my life. Like, if he wasn't part of that family, he would still be like either in NXT, maybe not even hired. I don't know. Like maybe we're wrong about him. Maybe it's another Roman case, and in 10 years we're like, damn, he's the guy. But I really don't know about that one. The match, I don't think the match really mattered. The whole thing was just for Roman to come back. Let's be honest. Like the match didn't matter. If it mattered, you wouldn't be like Solo versus Cody in the SummerSlam main event.
Correct.
I don't think they would have put Solo in that position for any other reason. I just like for Roman. So I don't think they really care about the match that much. It was not good. They put like all the run-ins to see if he would save it. But yeah, no, Roman, my God, this man, like, I swear to God, we can complain. I was one of the people that complained, like, oh my God, his title reign is going too much. He doesn't defend it, especially when the whole thing happened in the WrestleMania of last year with Cody losing. But the second he walks in, everything you say just goes like out the window because he just has it. Like the level of like, people overuse the word aura, but he's the definition of it. Like the second he walks in, you're like, okay, I get it. You could have never watched wrestling before in your life, and if you see Roman Reigns walking in, immediately he's the guy. So I'm so excited to see what's gonna be like Roman as a babyface. I don't think he's really gonna change a lot of his personality. I think he's still gonna be doing the same thing, like acknowledge me, I'm the real tribal chief, whatever. I don't think he's suddenly gonna be like, I'm so happy to be here in Cleveland, Ohio. Like, no. But I'm just curious to see where it's gonna go, and I feel like it was definitely the one thing that they were building towards, because this past month it really feel kind of dragged this whole bloodline thing, and Cody's still being stuck in it. So I just hope that they can like move on from that, and I want to see it. Like I'm really happy that Roman's back. Like he's the guy. Like I have nothing to say.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Cody. Apologies to Cody. That's what I have to say.
I'm looking forward to seeing how he and Cody coexist on the same show. Monty, real quick, what did you think of this main event?
Solo's just not really up to it, is he?
No.
I don't even think he's like awful, but he's just not up to this. He's
not good enough.
He's just so hard to buy as that in that role as well. But I think if he didn't take like the ironic turns that it did on social media, like this would have been like even more brutal. But yeah, like I said, this match wasn't really anything, was it, man? It was really boring. No. Like really, really boring. Struggling to stay awake, which is rare for me because I'm used to staying up to these crazy hours. But yeah. But then Roman comes out,
Yeah, then Roman comes out.
Jacob Fatu, he did his thing as well, hoping he's okay off that splash to the table because it did look sick. And but yeah, man, as soon as he started selling it, I was like, okay, Roman's next. Do you know what I mean? Because I've seen a lot of people being like, oh, Jey or Jimmy was meant to come out and do it. It's like, no, the way Jacob's been presented, bro, you think Jey Uso's going to come out there and super kick him? Like, no, bro. Do you know what I mean? But who knows? He was in the boot, like I said, maybe kayfabe's alive, or maybe he's actually hurt, hopefully the former. But yeah, then Roman comes out. And one thing I wanted to actually touch on here about this whole thing was, you said earlier, like the way Roman approached the ring, it's like he's still contemplating, should I be doing this almost? Like he's walking to the ring, it's like, okay, I've got to sort this Solo situation out. But he's not sprinting to the ring like, oh, I'm going to save Cody. Then obviously he does the whole, like, after he hits Solo with the Superman punch and the spear, he gives Cody that look like, you know what I just did, and and there was almost kind of like a reluctancy about the way he approached the ring and stuff, and he's still, you can kind of see the gears in his mind ticking. It's those little things that pop me about it as well. So our original tribal chief is back, and the people are rejoicing, Iba.
They are rejoicing. I'm rejoicing. Anna is very much rejoicing, and so is Monty. So welcome back, Roman Reigns. We very much missed you, and we acknowledge you. And that was SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer. And I listened to a little bit of Jelly Roll on Spotify, and that was just all right, guys. Are you ready for some news?
I think so.
Okay. MJF and Britt Baker. The details have all been released. Friday, Monty aggregated it. Fightful Select reported on it. Dave Meltzer broke the seal and told what happened. There was an altercation. There was an argument with MJF and Britt Baker. It happened on the night of Dynamite 250, and the argument resulted in the suspension of Britt Baker. Since then, details have resulted and emerged, like things like MJF hitting a wall, punching a wall, MJF going into the women's locker room, Britt Baker having a bit of a back and forth with Alicia too. I can confirm to you guys that all of these things are true. MJF did punch a wall. MJF did 100% go into the women's locker room. The question now is, and the question that many fans have been asking is, then why did he not get suspended? The reason why he didn't get suspended is because of the context and order of these events. So, according to multiple sources, MJF, when he hit the wall, it was not a case of like he's in front of Britt Baker and he punches the wall right next to her. Apparently, he had his interaction and he walked very, very, very far down the hallway where no one was there and then hit a wall, which is a different context than like, in the women's locker room punching walls. Regarding the women's locker room aspect of the story, the official information I got was that it was after this whole thing apparently like calmed down, because apparently Will Ospreay was the first person to confront Britt Baker, and he just kind of asked her why she was starting issues. Ospreay confronted her, asked about it. Britt Baker went off on Alicia Atout. Britt Baker called Alicia Atout by multiple counts a stupid fucking bitch, because Alicia Atout informed MJF that Britt Baker was, berating him, talking crap about Max and Ospreay, because she was basically like, it's what the story had already been told. She was burying them as their match was going on, the 1 hour match, right? Alicia Atout lets Max know via text message. Max finds out later. Ospreay approaches. MJF comes to the defense of his fiance. But yeah, so Britt Baker goes off on Alicia for being a snitch. She accused her of, being a snitch, called her a stupid fucking bitch. She said that she was going to get her kicked out of the women's locker room, so on and so forth. MJF going into the women's locker room was allegedly him going there, knocking and asking if he could enter, and them saying that he could enter. And that's when he got in the locker room. So the reason why he was not suspended is because HR had all the details and the information and the footage, and they looked it all over and they said, okay, you're not in the wrong here, and you're just coming to the defense of your wife, who was initially just kind of informing her fiance of what was going on. And so they just kind of didn't really punish him because they didn't see it as something that should be punishable. So that's kind of the deal with that. That's the situation with MJF and Britt Baker. Britt's not going to miss All In. She's going to wrestle at All In against Mercedes. Free agency update. The Lucha Brothers are expected to go to WWE. This is something that has been What's up?
Who's expecting them to go to WWE?
Right. Yeah. So the Lucha Brothers were originally going to be wrestling at Wembley Stadium with Pac. They were at one point they were pegged to wrestle the Patriarchy for the Trios Championships. This match is not happening. The Trios Championship match is the Patriarchy, the Bang Bang Gang, and the House of Black. Yeah. That's your Trios Championship match at Wembley. It is unknown at this point if the Death Triangle will be wrestling at Wembley at all. I don't know that. But when the match got canceled, I asked around internally, and multiple people within AEW, multiple sources within AEW towards me, basically made it clear to me that the Lucha Brothers are expected to depart AEW at the end of their contract. Some of them speculated that WWE was the destination. Others outright said to me that it was a formality. That's the update on them, and that's the bottom line on their situation. Some speculated that that's their destination, and others outright said that this is a formality. They are expected to depart AEW at the end of their deals, and they are believed to be going to WWE. Their initial Wembley match was canceled.
I guess, Carlito needs something to do now that he's not in Judgment Day anymore. I can see them just putting him as their manager or something.
I feel like I'm breaking Anna's heart in real time here. That's the deal. That's the situation. People I reached out to WWE for an official comment on the Lucha Brothers. They did not want to give me one, and I didn't expect one, considering that nothing is official and there's no deal signed because because the Lucha Brothers are still under AEW contract. They're still under AEW contract. WWE did not want to comment on it. I asked them. I asked in an official capacity. They didn't want to give me one, and that's just kind of the deal with that.
My thing is, like, Tony Khan, if you were a boss, who would you be? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, how, first of all, the Britt MJF thing, how do you, like, how Britt Baker is. You know what she did to Thunder Rosa. Why would you have her back in your company? Why would you have her back in your locker room? At least just suspend it, I guess. But it's still like, how can you not control your workers? And then why the fuck would you lose the Lucha Bros? Look at your division. Look at your tag division. Look at your Truth division. Why? Why would you do that? And I don't trust WWE with any Mexicans that are not called Rey Mysterio. So I'm very scared for that. I hope that they're like really pushed to the moon, that they're used like to the best that they can possibly be. They're amazing, one of the best tag teams in the world for years now. And I guess Motor City Machine Guns is going to be there, so maybe they're really like focusing on having a strong tag division and something that Gunther wants to focus on. So yeah, I really don't know how to feel about that. As long as they don't put them with Carlito or in the LWO, I guess I'm glad. I don't know, or in NXT, like they shouldn't be in NXT as well.
I feel like Anna is in real time.
Tony Khan, what are you doing?
It feels like Anna is in real time, kind of like talking through it and like having like live therapy. And
I'm trying to like
understand.
I'm trying to not understand. I'm trying to like find ways to not be too upset about it. I'm trying to find like, but like maybe.
Would it make you feel better
to cope in real life?
Would it feel better that AEW wanted to keep them and they've offered them extensions, and it's not like they, I don't know, man. It's tough. We'll have more information in the coming days. I'd imagine. What's up?
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Do you know until when Britt is suspended?
She's probably going to be back.
She's already back, isn't she?
Yeah, she's either back this week or next week.
No, I think she's already back. Because I don't know.
I thought I was gonna have like a week free.
Quote Hangman, not me.
Right.
Like, damn.
But again, for the people aggregating this Lucha Brothers news, because a bunch of people are tweeting it, just to have the concrete detail. I spoke to multiple sources in AEW. This wasn't a single source thing. Multiple sources in AEW expect them to depart when their contracts are up. And again, some have speculated a WWE destination. Others outright told me that is what is going to happen. So nothing is official. They're still under AEW contract. That's the situation with the Lucha Brothers. Their initial Wembley match that they were supposed to have was canceled. So
this Wembley show is being such a disaster for me. I'm sorry. I just need to like vent a little bit. I bought the tickets because I wanted to see Metalingus live, and then Copeland gets injured. And then Britt Baker is added to the show to have a match against Mercedes. And now the Lucha Bros are now wrestling there as well. And I have to see fucking gangbang, whatever. Like,
it'll be fine, I think.
I'm going through it.
Okay, so here's the deal. I was going to give you guys the G1 update. We have no time for that. So we'll catch you guys up with the G1 next week. I will say in passing now that I thought that Goto versus Takeshita was awesome. And it felt like one of those old school mid to late 2010s New Japan classic epic matches with just a great crowd and an amazing closing stretch. And so I loved that. And yeah, man. So we'll see what happens. We'll give you guys more updates in the coming weeks. I'm sure more information will leak from there on. And I'm sure Sean Rossap and other people within wrestling media will kind of ask around on their end. And we'll see what they have to say. But that was the cat out of the bag, so to speak, with the Lucha Brothers. And I hope you guys enjoyed the information. And I guess let's take this home, Monty, with some super chats.
Yeah, another speed run's needed.
Yeah.
Legend Rider, $5. Jey Uso needs to be a serious character again if he's going to be involved in both the Judgment Day and Bloodline stories. Chill with the Yeet Oos. I think we all agree, brother.
Yeah,
Corey David, $2. Black Trunks pulled both Punk and Drew picks. Black Trunks pulled both Punk and Drew. Huh? Can anyone figure?
We need some clarification.
Night 122, not 199. Seth sung more other than the match #Beast. I mean, bro, that first couple of minutes was electric, man. Let me just hold on to it. Jumanji, $2. Jumanji Hunter, $2. Gotta stop hoping for blood in the Fed. I mean, I didn't even need blood.
I just want a good.
When I said bloodbath, I just meant like
aggressive,
you know,
yeah,
physical. Anas the Sultan, $2. Priest Gunther did all I wanted Punk Drew to be. God bless.
Facts.
And while Starwin, $5. Is the WWE testing Punk's resolve with goofy storylines? Paragraph Man, it is time to audition for anime voice acting gigs. Anime. Anjan, $2. Ibu, how's the vibe looking for All Out card?
There's been a couple matches that were gonna be on there that got moved up to Wembley. I get the feeling, this wasn't confirmed to me, this is just a prediction. I think Okada's gonna fight Claudio at All In Chicago. And I think a couple big heated stories are gonna get blown off in Chicago.
Cal, 20 pesos. Pause will never hold our precious World Heavyweight Championship again.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Gunther did tell us that he has saved this
sport.
What's that? Just need to mute someone. Dan V, 900, 999. Both Bloodline Rules matches were done, but Mania was a far better match. Why is it not just 4-on-1 right away in both matches? The Bloodline has a low IQ. Crowds are being trained to wait for run-ins. Yeah, it did make me. Joe pointed it out yesterday. It's like, bro, someone could pull up with a gun and shoot someone in the head. I wouldn't buy a near fall unless like 5 people have already run out, you know. So like, it is an interesting one how they play it off. Obviously, at Mania it did work, but you know, lightning don't strike twice in the same spot. So, Damien Manuel, Michael, $2. IB's greater than Ibu. Many are saying.
I agree.
Push 199. I swear if Triple H books Phoenix versus Lee on speed. ... Come on, man.
I am killing myself.
Showtime Spurs, $2. AEW.
Sorry.
Showtime Spurs, $2. AEW dead. Corey David, $5. This makes no sense. Lucha Bros are booked good and allowed to do CMLL. WWE doesn't know how to book Hispanic wrestlers outside of Rhea and Priest. Well, Priest is such a recent example, but it's hard to say they don't know how to do it. If that makes sense, because it's like if it was still, yeah, like if the narrative was still except for Rey, which I know some people would still argue with that, but then yeah, but like when you throw Priest in as well, it's like, well, he literally just dropped the belt, so it's like
I have no clue what to expect about the Lucha Brothers in WWE. So I will literally just let that happen.
Honestly, as long for me as they don't put them with the LWO, because that's what they do with every Latino talent, or make Carlito their manager, I'm good.
I you know what? What I will say is I will naively say that they will not be in the LWO. That's my only prediction. But I have no clue what it looks like and what happens there.
Black Yakuza 94, $5. AEW losing Motor City Machine Guns and Lucha Bros to the Fed is nasty. Right, so I guess my only contribution would be that isn't a formality. Like the Motor City Machine Gun thing, that's not a formality just yet. So who knows? Hush, $2. Is WWE going to try an angle to partner with CMLL?
I didn't hear anything about that.
I don't think they will. Jumanji Hunter, $2. Did he confirm the Dragon Lee paternity thing?
Yeah, I asked about it because someone whispered to me. I wasn't able to get WWE wouldn't answer me. There's speculation that Dragon Lee's on paternity leave. Yeah, there's speculation about that. Yeah.
Peyton Carter 199 Daniel Garcia update.
There isn't. He has not signed. He still has not signed AEW's extension offer.
Which isn't $2.
As of last week, he has not.
It's okay, guys. AEW got Shane coming. Spiteful. Mohammed 10 Sa. I'm not sure what they are. South Africa? Oh, I don't know. How do you fix the AEW tag division now?
This requires 20 to 30 minutes of discussion.
Basically, what you do is you give the pen to Charlie of WrestlePurists, someone you can book with passion, and true love for
private party. You have Top Flight. Like you have people.
Anna is broken right now. Like she's like,
I'm just like I can't do this anymore. Like I was so happy thinking, oh, Brit suspended. I don't have to see her in Dynamite this week. But yeah, it's been a tough past couple minutes for me. Let's keep going.
SMG $5. Is Mox expected back for All In?
I don't know. I've asked about him on All In for a month now. And none of the matches that I've heard have included him, but he's one of those guys you could throw a graphic of him and somebody on the last week. I don't know at this point though. I really don't know.
Damian Manuel Michael $2. Spooky Penta versus White 6 will be.
Oh my god!
Stop it!
I'm going to. I cannot.
Uncle Howdy. Penta Oscuro.
Anna's got to be up in the morning. She's not going to sleep now. Like, you've just ruined her role.
I have to be in the airport in like 6 hours, and I'm just gonna be like laying in bed with my eyes open, just like Lucha Bros. Do you think they're gonna change their name? It's gonna be like the Wrestling Brothers because they're gonna people cannot say Lucha. Ooh.
They're gonna probably change the name because AAA owns the Pentagon Junior name. So they're all gonna have like quirky, weird names like Phoenix King.
This just gets worse.
It's gonna be like Cerro Penta Miedo and like Phoenix King or whatever, King Ray or
No, they changed Shirai to Sky because they say like, oh, people cannot say Shirai, so I doubt that they're gonna do anything like Spanish.
I'd expect Ray Phoenix.
Bro, it's the other day, man. That, what was the name that Ray Phoenix trademark? Like Ray Fuego.
Ray Fuego.
Yeah. Like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh shit. So... You know what I mean? Then obviously Ibu jumped in this tonight before we went live and was like, yo, and told us what you guys now know.
Yeah.
I hate this so much.
But on another note, on more happy moments, Gunther is now in the ring on Raw with a suit on and the World Heavyweight Championship. It's happy days.
Are we? Yeah, he's awesome. Are we done with the super chats, Monty?
I think so, unless we've got a new one. Yeah, we're done, brother. We're done.
All right, well, guys, I appreciate you. I should have had a formal write up of the MJF Brit thing. Maybe we publish
the clip works better as long as people don't aggregate it like fucking morons. Like we'll probably aggregate it ourselves. Just to make sure it's done properly.
I guess.
But it's better it's just better if people just actually watch it. If that makes sense.
Right.
Watch the clip.
We'll link this everywhere. But yeah, I should have written down like a formal version of the whole thing. But yeah, so I hope I clarified the Brit thing and the Lucha Brothers. That's the situation with them. And again, more details will emerge about this in the coming weeks. I fully expect that Sean Ross, as we speak, is on the job and working the phones. So when the details come, we'll cover it. But until then, I'm Ibu of WrestlePurists.
Hold on. I'll plug tomorrow, brother.
I'm about to do it. I'm smooth, my man. I said I'm Ibu of WrestlePurists. That's Monty. Anna is distraught right now, and I hope she gets better.
You broke me, like, emotionally,
mentally. When this pod ends, she's going to scream at the top of her lungs. But that has been WrestlePurists Worldwide. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the WrestlePurists Raw review, myself and Rob. And we'll talk about the fallout of SummerSlam. Gunther's a new champion. Who Gunther's going to face, the Bash in Berlin direction, the Wyatt Six's debut. We'll talk about all those things tomorrow afternoon on the Raw review. We'll catch you guys next time.